The most efficient heating system ever built is illegal to install in your home. Not banned because it failed, not recalled because it was dangerous. Banned because it works so well and costs so little to build that it has no place in an economy built around keeping you dependent on a fuel supply you cannot control. In 1982, a Welsh ecologist named Ianto Evans, working with the Aprovecho Research Institute in Oregon, documented a combustion system that a Dutch aerospace engineer later measured at 90.5% thermal efficiency. Your gas furnace runs at 80 to 98%, but that number measures something different. We'll get to why that distinction matters more than almost anything else in this video. There is a heating system that keeps your home warm for 24 hours on a single armful of sticks. Not logs, sticks. The kind that fall from trees on their own. And the reason you have never been offered it has nothing to do with safety and everything to do with what cannot be sold. The physics behind this system are not new. They are over 3,000 years old, and every major civilization that understood them built their homes around them until one century decided to forget on purpose. This is not a story about a stove. It is a story about what gets removed from your options and who benefits when it disappears. In 1973, Ianto Evans arrived in Guatemala. He was not there as an engineer. He was there as an ecologist, watching something the World Health Organization would later quantify as one of the largest invisible killers on the planet. Indoor smoke from open cooking fires kills approximately 4 million people annually, most of them women, most of them children, not from accidents. From daily use of the only system available to them, 3 stone hearths, 4 hours of burning per day. The particulate matter in those kitchens was equivalent to smoking 40 cigarettes daily breathed by every person in the room, including infants. The question Evans was asking was not philosophical, it was engineering. Could you build a stove from local materials that burned wood efficiently enough to stop poisoning the people using it? By 1982, he had an answer. The rocket stove, named for the roaring column of air through its L-shaped combustion chamber, it burned hotter, cleaner, and on dramatically less fuel than the 3 stone fires it replaced. Studies confirmed it reduced carbon monoxide production in the kitchen by 1/3, and Evans immediately saw the problem with it. The rocket stove transferred heat into the cooking pot, then lost the rest to the air. In Guatemala's humid climate, acceptable. But for anyone heating a home in a cold environment, catastrophic. You were burning wood efficiently and throwing most of the warmth out of the room. The solution did not come from Oregon. It did not come from Wales. It came from Korea. And it had been working without modification for over 3,000 years. Your gas furnace is rated at 80 to 98% annual fuel utilization efficiency. That number is on the label. Your HVAC technician will cite it with confidence. It measures how efficiently the system converts fuel into heat. It does not measure how much of that heat stays in your living space. Here is what actually happens. The furnace fires, it heats air, warm air rises, it pools at the ceiling, a door opens, warm air escapes, cold air replaces it, thermostat drops, the furnace fires again. This cycle repeats throughout the day and night. You are not heating your house. You are heating the air inside it over and over and paying each time it escapes. Now consider a different approach. What if, instead of heating air, you heated something that could not escape? Something with enough mass that it absorbed heat during a short, intense burn and released it slowly over the following 16 to 24 hours, long after the fire was out? This is what Korean architects understood 3,000 years ago. A system called the ondol routing combustion gases beneath heavy stone floors, heating the mass of the building itself. The floor radiated warmth for hours after the fire died. It heated not the air in the room, but the surface every person was in contact with. The Industrial Revolution did not improve on this. It replaced it. Cast iron stoves, centralfornuches, steam radiators, faster to manufacture, easier to distribute, and, critically, they required an ongoing fuel supply that could be sold. Thermal mass heating required neither a manufacturer nor a fuel supplier after construction. It was, from a commercial standpoint, the wrong kind of efficient. The rocket mass heater begins with wood. Not cords of split hardwood, sticks, 1 to 3 inches in diameter. The kind that accumulates in any garden without effort, The wood feeds vertically into a tube. At the base, the L-shaped burn tunnel redirects combustion horizontally before turning vertical again, forcing the fire to burn sideways. This geometry creates something conventional stoves cannot replicate: the heat riser, a thick, heavily insulated vertical chamber at the heart of the system. Inside it, temperatures reach between 1100 and 1650 degrees Fahrenheit. A conventional wood stove burns at 570 to 930 degrees. The difference is not marginal. It is the difference between one combustion event and two. When wood burns, it releases wood gas volatile compounds carrying enormous energy. In a traditional stove, those gases travel up the flue and combust partially or not at all before escaping. You are paying for fuel and discarding a significant portion of its energy unburned. In the heat riser, those gases are trapped long enough to ignite completely. A second burn, inside the same system, extracting energy that every conventional heating appliance throws away as a matter of design. The exhaust from a conventional wood stove leaves the chimney at 750 to 1100 degrees Fahrenheit. The exhaust from a rocket mass heater leaves at between 194 degrees. Where did that heat go? An inverted steel barrel forces the hot gases back down around the column, immediate radiant warmth into the room. Then the gases enter an exhaust duct embedded in 2 to 3 tons of cob clay, sand, and straw running through a bench before exiting the building. The cob absorbs the heat, holds it. Over the next 16 to 24 hours, it radiates that warmth back into the room, steady and continuous, without any fuel being burned. You light one fire. The bench heats your home through the night. A Dutch aerospace engineer measured the result: 90.5% thermal efficiency. A 900 square foot home in upstate New York recorded a 60% drop in firewood use after switching from a conventional wood stove. A home in Colorado's San Luis Valley reported 50% fuel reduction. Many users heat their homes entirely from what accumulates naturally in their garden over a year. So why is this system not only absent from mainstream construction but actively prohibited by law? Building regulations across the United States, the United Kingdom, and most of Europe prohibit open combustion appliances in residential buildings. The stated reason is carbon monoxide risk, and that risk is real. A modern, well-insulated home with mechanical ventilation or a kitchen extraction fan can develop negative indoor air pressure. When that happens, airflow through the combustion system reverses. Colorless, odorless, lethal. This risk is solvable. The Batchbox variant uses a sealed firebox door with a dedicated external air intake isolating combustion from indoor air pressure entirely. Carbon monoxide risk eliminated. Materials cost between $300 and $700. Specifications are available free online under a Creative Commons license. So if the safety problem has a documented solution, why does the prohibition remain? The Environmental Protection Agency requires any wood-burning appliance to pass standardized laboratory testing on identical, mass-produced units. A system built from clay, sand, and a salvaged drum has no pathway through a framework designed for manufactured products. It has no manufacturer, no recurring fuel revenue, no service contracts, no replacement parts. The systems in the building codes are there because they passed a certification framework designed for things that can be manufactured and sold. Not because they are more efficient, not because they are safer. Ianto Evans watched women and children die from smoke in Guatemalan kitchens in 1973. By 1982, he had built a replacement that anyone could construct from local materials with no supply chain and no ongoing cost. By every measurement applied to it since, it still works. It is not in your home. The question worth sitting with is whether the system that keeps it out is designed to protect you from it, or from the knowledge that you never needed to buy heat in the first place.